Well, thanks for staying with us on Morning Express this morning. For our main topic of discussion, we'll delve into legislative interventions. In our studio this morning is the senator representing Ebonyi North Senatorial District, who also wears the cap as the Senate's Deputy Chief Whip. I'm talking about the most distinguished Senator Peter Onyekachi Nwaebonyi. Good morning to you, distinguished, and welcome to our studio.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Well, good morning once again. We thank you for finding the time to join us.
Thank you.
Well, Senator, you are the Deputy Chief Whip of the 10th Senate, and you have been interfacing quite a lot with members of the media. You've always been out there, conversing and campaigning for the good image of the Senate. But there is something I would want you to react to very quickly before we delve into other matters. Sometime last week, we saw the National Assembly, both the Senate and the members of the House of Reps, put to a voice vote the declaration of the state of emergency ruling in Rivers State, something that has been criticized heavily as to why the National Assembly decided to opt for a voice vote. Do you care to clarify on that matter before we move on?
Well, first and foremost, what is happening in Rivers State is what everybody that cares already know. From the genesis, you can see a complete breakdown of law and order. The governor having a very serious face-off with the members of the House of Assembly, wherein the 27 members are not with the governor.
Yeah.
And the governor tries to run the state with 3 honorable members, which is less than 1/10 of the whole members
of the House.
And the law is very clear. You cannot operate a House of Assembly or any parliament with less than 2/3 majority of the members, meaning that all the actions or approvals given by 3 persons out of 31 members or 30 members is null and void. And that gave rise to the judgment of the Supreme Court nullifying all the activities of the 3 members. And consequently, the matter escalated more and more to a point that all the federal government assets in Rivers State was under a serious threat. In fact, you can see a paralyzed government. And that is why the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a very caring father, who has that responsibility of ensuring peace and normalcy in every part of the country, had to declare state of emergency, to maintain law and order in Rivers State. Because Rivers State, just like every other state, is very important to the federal government of Nigeria. So consequently, as Parliament, having seen the need of the steps taken by the President, we have to give a nod to that by giving our approval in line with the provision of Section 305, sub 5 and 6 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which empowers us to so do within 48 hours, which is clear 2 clear days. So we acted within time, and we had a majority. We had a required 2/3 as provided, in the Constitution. So
and that was ascertained via voice vote.
Of course, there was no dissenting voice. Okay. Supposing there was dissenting voice, would have gone for counting. But you can see the proceedings; it was beamed live. There was no single senator or a single member House of Reps that said no, no,
or nay.
It was very clear. So when people argue, the other way, I see people just trying to play politics with nothing. Everybody unanimously saw reasons why we should support that state of emergency by passing that resolution. There was no single senator in chambers or after that said it's not in support. If you are saying it after, why didn't you say it during the plenary?
Now, distinguished, we hear that the majority, like you say, was ascertained via the register. And in attendance, sources say that out of 109 senators, about 64 were present that day.
It's 74.
74.
And remember, we have lost 1 senator, bringing us to 108. We've suspended 1 senator, bringing us to 107. Now, 1 senator contested for governor of Edo State. That seat is still vacant. INEC is yet to conduct election, bringing us to 106. But even at that, we had 74.
74 as against the 64 making rounds in the media.
The attendance register is a public document. You can ask for it and we will give you. So when people, talk is cheap, especially when people are, promoting the interests of their own party, which is the opposition. But we are not deterred. We are focused as a people. We are focused as a party, APC. We are focused to give Nigerians the good governance that we promised.
On this comments of opposition,
Yes.
there are also certain rumors making the rounds that the Senate seems to be distracted by sponsored drama, distracting Nigerians away from issues as it concerns the 2025 budget. Do you think this is sponsored distraction?
We are not distracted in any form. We are old politicians. All these things happening is not new to us. We are having our normal business as parliament. We are sitting every day. We are sitting today. We just passed the 2025 appropriation bill. Every day we do our business. Yesterday we just passed a bill creating another university in Ekpe, part of Lagos State. So we are not distracted. But it's very important that from time to time, we'll come and clear the code so that people will not be misled. The Senate, the 10th Senate, under the leadership of our leader, the uncommon achiever, Gospel Akpabio, is focused to give Nigerians good laws and to guide the executive through oversight. And that we are doing. All our committees are functional.
Well, distinguished Senator, let's us address the elephant in the room. Yesterday, we saw an altercation that took place. But before we get to the crux of the altercation, do you care to let us in on the proceedings of the sexual harassment panel that has been set up to ensure that this debacle that has been in the Senate is completely resolved and everybody goes back to normalcy?
Well, you see, let me start by saying that there was no case of sexual harassment in the first place.
Allegations of sexual harassment.
That is just a mere fabrication by Senator Natasha to mislead the public, to elicit pity from the public against the Senate President simply because she lost a committee that she felt was very good for her. So that means that she is driving her personal interests as a senator. No committee in Parliament is cast on stone. Today you can be chairman Senate Committee on Works. Tomorrow the leadership can review it. Just like in this year duty. Today you can be on morning duty. Tomorrow the management may decide that you be on night duty. So if you are here to serve this broadcasting house, their shift of duty shouldn't affect you. And they should raise voice about it. So that is the issue. So we are focused. There is no, on that 80th day of December 2023, as God will have it, I was the closest person to Senator Natasha. We flew in from Abuja here in the same aircraft. We landed in Oyo, Victor Atta International Airport. I drove in the same vehicle with her and the husband. I was in the front seat. We attended a series of programs of the Senate President in Uyo Town. And later in the evening, we retired to Ikotekbene, where the President of the Senate hosted us. And by 12 midnight, we sang birthday song in his honor. Thereafter, we entered the same vehicle with her, back to 4 Points Hotel. The Senate President was at home with the wife, with the children. And Senator Natasha came with the husband. So there was never a time. And moreover, she was a very new person, about 2 months old. She was even afraid of approaching the Senate President. And at all times within this period we were in the Senate President's house, she was always with her husband. So there was never a time the Senate President said, don't like my place, we'll come here to have good time. Do you understand? There was nothing like that.
Well, distinguished as a barrister, I believe this testimony would do well if you were called to the stand.
Of course.
But on the floor of the Senate, there is the need for such petitions to have been signed by another, which the Senate has so well entertained, because there was the assertion that it wasn't even entertained in the first place. Hence the reason for this panel to hear the matter. Now, what's informed the Senate to now hear the petition and constitute the committee we saw yesterday?
We have our rules in the Senate. If you want to bring a petition that affects you as a member of the Parliament, you will not be the author of the petition. Someone else will author the petition, then you will present. So when Senator Natasha authored her first petition, we called her attention because we are interested in investigating the matter, because she is one of us, especially those who were not there. It's only me and few senators that were there that can categorically tell you that the Senate President is innocent of all this trash. So we called her attention that if you want to present this petition, like many wanted to know what happened, we guided her, So the following day, she came back with the petition, properly written. And she presented the petition. And yesterday, the committee sat, after giving her notice to appear by last week, which she did not. We had to adjourn till yesterday at her instance. So unfortunately, she didn't come. But the petitioner came with
other representatives.
With other, of her agents.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, instead of them to prove their case, they were dancing to the gallery. Starting with refusing to be administered, oaths to. Because before you testify, the Senate Committee on Police Petition is a quasi-judicial panel, where before you give evidence, you take an oath. Both of them said
they explicitly said they were not going to take.
Of course, you saw what Oby Ezekwesili was saying, shouting on top of her voice.
Now, distinguished, let's talk about the altercation in particular.
The altercation is very clear.
A lot of people are of the opinion that inasmuch as Oby Ezekwesili had asked you to shut up, which is on video,
yes,
she has admitted to it in a number of interviews since yesterday.
Very good.
The argument is to the fact that you might have overreacted in your response to her and that you could have better handled that situation.
Well, Oby Ezekwesili is my sister, a former minister, and I believe that she has had a lot of experience in leadership.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate and regrettable that a person of her level can talk to a sitting senator that way inside Senate building. That tells you, that goes to suggest that her character is terribly bad. That tells you that people around her are suffering. That tells you how high-handedness she is. How can you, even you now, as a journalist, I will ask you to shut up your mouth in a very rude manner when I was not addressing you.
Yeah.
I was talking to the presiding officer.
You were not speaking to her?
I was not speaking to her. She admitted it.
No, I don't know.
Let me clear the coast. When they failed to prove their case, we, the defendant, were invited to set our side of the story. And when I was about to do that, he said, "Will you shut up your mouth?" I said, "No, mommy." I called her mommy because she's just like my mother. I'm sure she will be in the same age with my mother.
At what point did it escalate?
I'm coming.
Distinguished Senator?
Listen to me. I said, "Mommy, can you withdraw that?" He said, "I can't withdraw that." I said, "Shut up your mouth, you hooligan." I said, "Me, a hooligan? A sitting senator? A hooligan? Then you are the hooligan."
Now, distinguished, would it interest you to know that beyond what happened during the hearing, she took to her verified Twitter handle, and she also went on to reiterate the hooliganism which she mentioned during the hearing.
Good.
In reference to this tweet, she says, "Scoundrels would always be scoundrels.
Good.
Hooligans would always be hooligans.
Good.
Our politics has more scoundrels and hooligans than human beings.
Good.
The war to rid this country's politics of scoundrels and hooligans is the real and imminent war that Nigerians would either decide to fight and win or forever be ruled by a criminal enterprise gang.
Okay.
We're all in the valley of decision. The choice is up to each of us as citizens."
Good.
This is dated 24th March 2025, tweeted at 12 minutes past 6 p.m.
Good.
Shortly after the altercation.
I want to ask you a question. If a former minister, somebody who have served this country at the Federal Executive Council, can make this type of statement, then who is a hooligan? I'm asking you.
The image of Nigeria.
That is the thing.
We wish she was here to also defend herself and tell her own side of the story.
She refused. And when I was given a person to state my own side of the story, she asked me to shut up my mouth.
Well, Bitto was about to ask a question, and I believe it's tilted towards.
No, I want to ask you: is it good?
Well, that's
how do you see
that's a question that remains to be answered. Senator,
a senator that was given the floor to speak, and somebody who is not recognized by the chairman, breaching the rules of the committee, telling the sitting senator to shut up his mouth. Now, that goes to tell you that she's more of a criminal.
Now, distinguished, this issue seems to have been sensationalized in Nigeria.
Yes.
Public opinion is now looking at it as a matter of gender.
No, it's minority opinion.
Now, the international
it's minority opinion. People have seen the truth. When Natasha came up with the whole of this drama, people tried to believe her. But when I came out with my eyewitness account, and much have to do with her character, but I don't want to go into that. But this is a woman that she's a known blackmailer. The Senate president is not her first victim. She has even paid compensation to other victims in the past. But the problem is this. I don't know why you, the media people, don't like to retrospect when somebody is coming with this type of allegation. You should have asked her, in the case of Reno Omokri, what happened?
The compensation was paid.
That is it.
But
nobody is talking about that.
Now the issue.
Nobody is talking about that.
The issue of
in the case of, let me come. In the case of Yaya Bello, she accused Yaya Bello of sexual harassment. When the going was good with her and Yaya Bello, there was no sexual harassment. It was when they had issues. He accused the man of sexual harassment. He also accused Dino Melayo of sexual harassment. So this is a habitual blackmailer, and I think we should all fight this evil.
Distinguished Senator, I just want you to address the issue of the image of the Senate in this situation.
The image of the Senate
that has been viewed a certain way. That is why you are here to clarify this.
The image
Senator.
of the Senate is impeccable.
That is why we want you to clarify it.
We are not distracted. We are doing our job. If you like, you can come and watch our proceedings. Our image is intact.
Now, in line with the international community, we also saw the display at the IPU, and it's on the cause of how Nigeria's sovereignty, especially with legislative interventions, can function, whilst there are channels for reporting such allegations to the police, which has not been done.
Which she didn't do. You can see that she's just doing media trial, just to destroy the image of the country, and that is why we suspended her for 6 months. And that is why her constituents are recalling her. INEC have just received the petition. We must fight this evil. This is evil against the nation.
Do you think it's beyond
promoting lies?
Is it an issue of the APC on the threat from these allegations, or is it an issue of the institution? Do you think it's because the APC is led?
It's a handwork of the opposition, the PDP, and other allied, political opposition. We are aware of this. You can see what their leaders are saying. Have you not seen what Atiku said after contesting to be president for 4 times and he lost, and he will still lose again? Have you not seen what Bukola Saraki said? Have you not seen what Bitto said? These are the handwork of the opposition. But we're not deterred because it's part of politics.
What are you doing? By you, I mean your person and the Senate doing to ensure that it sort of clarifies the notion that is gradually building up in the minds of Nigerians.
That is why
going
I'm here.
forward. Yes.
That is why I'm here. I was on Arise yesterday to set the record straight, and I can see the response. Nigeria, many are calling me, applauding me, saying that this woman is a very rude person. She shouldn't have acted that way. And my response was equal to what she said. So Nigerians have seen the truth. And we are moving on as a parliament.
Now we have less than 2 minutes. It's with the hope of reconciliation, starting with yourself and the former VP of the World Bank and former Minister Ezekwesili.
I have nothing to reconcile with her.
No hope for reconciliation.
Let her change her character. It's a question of her character. She's a very rude woman. She's very rude. And she shouldn't continue that way.
In closing, distinguished Senator, before we let you out of the studio, the panel has been established. The talks are there.
And we took a resolution yesterday. The matter is in court, so our rules
suspended
indefinitely until the court rules, because they even allege that the committee is biased. So we can't go further. Let the court rule.
Well, we must thank you so much, distinguished Senator. I just needed to clarify on that particular issue. It's been a pleasure having this conversation. Hopefully, we'll have you here again sometime soon to deliberate on more critical national issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.